Howdy doody kitties, yeah, it's still the same day. I still got the monkey balls shirt on. Thanks again, Sir Don Thorvin. Today we have the Fender, another one, Aerodyne Stratocaster. Okay, this is the one and only one of the Strat versions anyway that were made without a pick guard. Okay, I'll show you the other herd of the Aerodyne Strats that I have. These are made in Japan. Some are crafted in Japan. What's the difference? At one point in 1997, Fender sold off in Japan, and they were required to change their stuff on the back of the neck that says crafted in Japan. Okay, they were forced to change that instead of made in Japan like the old days. Are the guitars of any worse quality? No, no matter what anybody tells you on any forum. But since then, the old guys came back, and guess what they're allowed to do now with these? Yep, back to made in Japan again with the Aerodynes. And over in Japan, they have a lot more Aerodyne models to choose from that you can pick up and have sent here if you know the right people. They have white ones, cool, with humbuckers in them too, and all kinds of different versions than what you have ever seen. So I'm going to grab a bunch of those. You can get them with the Gibson scale length instead of the Fender scale length. They do wonderful stuff in Japan that USA will never do. So Fender Japan all the way for me, forever and always. Okay, so this one here again, 2004. What you have here is just your basic Strat with a carved top. Okay, so kind of less polish. It even plugs in with your Switchcraft jack right there. Just no pick guard. Everything's just top mounted. Okay, and it has cream binding for that vintage look. All of them are this way except for the very first ones that came out actually had white binding, which I like so much more. I hate anything that has to do with, oh, it has to look vintage, so they put cream on there. I hate this cream bullshit. White really pops. I'll show it to you in a second. The back you have your trim cover, and for some reason the cavity cover here is actually not recessed. It's recessed on all their other guitars, but here it sticks out and you can actually feel it because it's about a 1/4 inch, as you can see, off the body. Goofy design. Why? Don't know. Don't care. Okay, the old style tuners, which are my favorite kind of tuners ever made. Here's the headstock. It just says Aerodyne Strat. It doesn't say Stratocaster. Just Fender Aerodyne Strat. Okay, just their 3 standard pickups. Everything else is a Strat, other than the nice clean appearance of the binding. A double binding thing would look really sharp on these things. Will they do it? Japan just might. They might get her done. This has the vintage style bridge. Of course, you know, it won't stay in tune unless you were to put roller nut instead of your monkey ball grease or whatever they call it. You shove up here and blah blah blah. Put a roller. If you have to change it, you know, put a good old LSR roller nut up there, and it'll help a lot instead of having to put graphite in here or gorilla snot or monkey shit or whatever the crap is that I will not use up there. So I just don't use the bar. Don't like them anyway. I got a whammy pedal that'll do all that. Anyway, so clean, amazing looking guitar. Far better looking than regular Strats, I think. Even the one with the pick guard, which I'll show you in a second, still has a classier look all around with the carved top than typical Stratocasters. So this is the one I am actually reviewing today. I'll show you the other ones because they have been played at some point, but maybe not reviewed. I think I've reviewed my original one, but let's show you the others real quick. Here's the very first year of these, which was 2002. Let me wipe off a small bit of dust from it. Okay, close enough. Anyway, here you have white as your binding and the pick guard. Okay, so I love that white binding. That just got me. I bought it before I even played it. Okay, so this was the first year, 2002, for the Aerodynes. Again, it's exactly the same guitar, except for you have a typical Strat jack, and you have your friendly pickguard with your typical layout on it. Okay, again, still crafted in Japan. All mine are crafted in Japan, except for my new jazz bass I got yesterday, which is made in 2011, which in 2010 they went back to the made in Japan instead of crafted. Okay, so white binding, superiorly cool. That thing stands out, you know, when you're playing. They see that white binding. This cream thing just, it's what it is. Okay, another Strat with cream binding. This would have looked great with white binding, but no. This here is the heavily figured top on the blue. Okay, so there you go. There's that one again with the pickguard. And the cream binding. White pickguard, but cream binding and cream knobs against white. Not particularly my favorite thing in the world. Again, just Aerodyne Strat. So there's the blue version. They make a red version. They make an amber version as far as the ones that are exported. Or actually, I guess it would be imported into the United States. But then if you get the ones over from Japan, you can get all kinds of other finishes and pickup configurations. Okay, so there's nothing different about anything. They're just great Japanese quality made guitars. The Aerodyne Tele is actually superb. No pickguard on these. Okay, of course, to take away from the typical bite here, instead of throwing a typical humbucker here, which kind of throws it a little bit too dark, I think, they threw the P90 in here and it balances it out just great. This is a kick-ass blues guitar and country guitar, since most of the country guitars now are going with a bit of the overdrive, just enough on there to really make it cool. But there's the Tele. Okay, so again, crafted in Japan, and Aerodyne Tele, not even Telecaster, same as a Strat. Okay, so one of the best Teles you can just get, period. And why? Look here, they put real saddles, and 6 of them, of course, so you can actually be intonated, which is a beautiful thing. But they put the American saddles on it that were used back in '87 through, you know, the '97 on all the USA guitars. So they got a lot of those parts, and they used the Great Bridge. Okay, so you can get back here and pick instead of running into that damn big block metal wall that they put on most bridges. You can actually get back here and do your Dick Dale surf music and all that stuff where you can't do it on a regular Tele. Again, with the raised carved top, blah blah blah. Okay, let's get to the last one, then we'll actually listen to the guitar and call this a day. Here's the one I got yesterday, which is the Aerodyne. This is 2011, so made in Japan instead of crafted. The jazz bass. Okay, very cool. And I'll be doing a review on this right after I finish this. 2 volumes and 1 for each set of pickups, and master tone, Strat jack, which is great. They've made so many variations to this, so don't just think that this one is the only one, because they made like 4 or 5 different variations that you can get off of Fleabay. Okay, so this is my favorite configuration, and I was just waiting for it to get here. So there you go. Aerodyne J-Bass. Couldn't even spell jazz, so they just stick with whatever. But look, no, which I love, no fret markers anywhere on the neck. Of course they're on the side, but there you go. So, and again, they're still using the nasty cream binding though, which I'm not big on. But yes, like I said, we have returned to the made in Japan for the new stuff. But the crafted in Japan versions, there are 3 different other versions of the Aerodyne jazz bass. Okay, yes, and it still has these nasty D'Addario bass strings on it, but I get to use them while they have some life in them before I put my Polyweb elixirs on there. Yes, I'm the only person in the world who owns Polyweb bass strings, since they don't make them anymore. Elixir makes new bass strings, but they suck also. They're still nanoweb covered. They just changed the alloy of the string, which, you know, makes a difference, but they still ain't gonna last long. with the nano web. Thin coating that just pops right off. Okay, so let's plug the new Strat in, see what it is. Guess what? It's a Strat. It's nothing different other than it's made better than the USA ones. Okay, and Japan has always been that way. They've always made a better instrument. It doesn't matter whether it's Fender or not. Ibanez, if you remember back in the lawsuit days or before, was always making all the Gibson knockoffs and every other knockoff, but they were better than the real thing. Especially when you get to the Flying V's and the Explorers, or actually called Rock and Roll Senior and the Destroyer, back in 75, 76. Just, they were made better than Gibson made them, period. Gibson finally just ended up putting up a suit, which never really went through, never did nothing. It's just the lawsuit era. The suit never happened. Nobody paid anybody shit. It was just over the shape of the Les Paul headstock shape. Nothing else, not because of the shape of the guitar, anything else. So, Ibanez History 101. Okay, down to this Aerodyne Strat without the pickguard. Does the lack of a pickguard make it sound any different? Some people believe that pickups mounted in plastic sound different than pickups that are mounted directly into the wood. Wrong. Pickups are pickups, and pickups, again, do not care what your guitar is made out of, nor what finish is on it. They are magnetic, your wood is not magnetic, and your finish is not magnetic. Therefore, it picks up just what your string sound, your string vibrations. What does affect your tone? The alloy and the makeup of your bridge saddles and your nut. This would sound tons better if you had a nut on here that was not made of bone or plastic, because you've got, what, a couple of hundred notes here you play against metal, then only 6 notes that you play against this piece of plastic. So your open strings do not sound the same as your regular strings. I've said that a million times, but just so you'll know, throw a metal nut on there made out of the same alloy as your frets, and all your shit will sound the same. Amazing. But who does it? Kramer used to do it. Steinberger still does it with the 0 fret, so some people are still doing it right. Okay, here we are in the 2 position, clean, through the Johnson Millennium JM150, going straight into the amp, except for my Boss CS3 compressor. I'll tell you when I turn it on. Other than that, I just have a foot controller out here that is doing nothing but controlling the sounds that I programmed into this modeling amp. So all the effects are built into the amp. Okay, so there are no outboard effects. Again, the very first modeling amp, the Johnson Millennium JM150. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Okay, here we are on the 2 position, everything on 10 on the guitar. Okay. Okay, I'll throw in a little, hell, let's just do the whole gamut. There it is, clean, in the 2 position. Your country sound, if you want. Okay, so there you go. Typical Strat sound, but on a better made guitar than USA. So what can I tell you? Bridge. When I go to the bridge, okay, the thing to do here with these things is to back the tone off generally, which you cannot do on USA made guitars. Okay? USA Strats, you cannot turn the tone down on your guitar on just the bridge pickup. Japan, yes. Why? Because they're better and they thought it through. So, here, what do you know? So all you people out there that keep bitching and don't want to do any renovations or modifications on your USA Strats, that want a Strat that actually does work, buy one from Japan. You'll never go back. Once you go, you never go back. Okay? So you can actually take that high end off for once, add in just a little tiny bit of overdrive. We're on the bridge pickup only. Tight sound here. Okay, now I'm going to turn on the Boss CS3 compressor. Everybody out there wondering how these country people get their tones these days? That's it. Slight bit of overdrive and the compressor, and going to that bridge pickup and actually bleeding back a little bit of the high end. Okay, so that is tone fucking heaven right there. Pardon my French. No, I don't apologize for shit. Anyway, so that is the tone to get. So you can get that telly tone finally, roll off your back end, your high end on your back pickup. Ta-da! Everything's solved. Buy an Aerodyne, kids, for God's sake. Middle pickup is a middle pickup. I never like them, but here it is. Let me tune one now after all that. It is still a Fender. So, tuning issues, yeah, Fender. So there's the middle, here's the 4 position, which I love, your other quack sound. Which would never be complete without a compressor, same thing. But you get your Knopfler sound there, and finally neck pickup. Do the neck pickup with a little overdrive. Little compressor. Great tones. Distortion, I'm going to go to the 2 position. Your other sounds, who cares? Neck positions, going through the Soldano patch. Okay. there's your soldano. If you never want your notes to die out, oh, there it is. Hit the compressor. So there you go. Enough of all that garbage. So there you go, folks, the Aerodyne Stratocaster, crafted in Japan, 2004, without the pick guard and all the other ones that's kind of shown to you. Again, just to fill up a whole bunch of space on here, because, well, I can, and I got to write all these off. Tax write-off. I showed it to you, so now it's legit. Okay? So anyway, again, everything about these guitars smokes USA guitars. Why? Because they can. USA just don't give a shit anymore. It seems like everything, you know, all the Gibsons and the Fenders and everybody else, except for Paul Reed Smith, is actually making great guitars, and the imports are just as great. So the Korean PRS guitars are superb. Get one of those before you ever pay any money for an American anything. Okay, just better guitars for a lot less money. They are perfect all the time. These are pretty close to dang. These are better than anything you could buy that says Fender on it. Okay, so Japan, Fender, Aerodyne, get one. They just smoke. Okay, and speaking of smoking, I'm gonna have some tea. So I'm retarded. I know. I'm supposed to get tarded. Sorry there, Gerald. I misspoke. If you don't know who Gerald is, you guys haven't been on my channel long. Anyway, so talk to you soon, and I'm going to whip out the old jazz bass now that I just got and make some noise. Okay? Bye.